There's only 3 of us here tonight. We do have a quorum. Mr. DeJesus had some unexpected business pop up, and we hope for him to return well next meeting. I do have the following to read into the record. This was read before the closed session meeting. This is from Board Member Costan to the County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Duardo. Dear Dr. Duardo, I hereby resign my position from the governing board of the Akron-Aadusd Unified School District effective January 24th, 2024. My family and I have decided to relocate out of state in the next few months. Knowing this, I can no longer serve in good faith. Sincerely, Tom Costan. I would, on behalf of the board of the district, I would like to thank not only Mr. Costan, but the entire Costan family for their innumerable contributions to the quality of life in our community. Moving ahead, let's go to number 4. I've asked the person that brings you television live, Alex, could you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance? I'll be reading the civility statement. When conducting the district's business, we will strive to communicate clearly and concisely with a respect for the time of others, listen objectively, carefully considering the opinions of others, understand the counterproductive effects of disruptive, demeaning, and intimidating behaviors, understand and respect district policies and procedures, and maintain a respect for the rich history of the district and efforts of others who have served in the past. Moving on, I'm going to report out that there was no action taken in closed session this evening. You're going to have to retrain me on how to turn pages, it looks like. Now is the time for public comments, recognition report. Do we have any public comments at this time?
Yes, one public comment card was pulled, Mr. Fonstad.
One of my favorite people, Mr. Rowland. Can we hear from you, please?
I won't take long. I just wanted to publicly express gratitude and appreciation to Dr. Sahaki and all the school board members. This past month, you guys graciously funded our handball trip to Universal City Walk. And without your help, just know that a lot of families would not have been able to financially come up with the means to both get their child to and from, as well as fund perhaps tickets to attend the concert right at Christmas time. And it's always been my strong belief that I don't want the handball program to ever be a financial burden. So I just want you each to know how much of the difference you made in our group. So thank you for your continued support. And I just have a small little gift for some of you, if you don't mind. Can I pass them out, or is that inappropriate?
You do whatever you like, you just make sure you're teaching here next year. So this will be on your Form 700. That will be on your Form 700.
Thank you, sir.
This will not be on my form.
Thank you again. We really, you should know it's one of the rare concerts that every student went to because of your help. That would not have happened. Will Mr. Forgate be upset if I give the cupcake to that baseline? I didn't know she was going to be here.
Other question?
Don't tell him I gave it to you.
Thank you.
You know that Rihanna was my student.
That's very touching.
Where'd you hear that from? Who lied to you?
What's happening?
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to violate the board rules. Brianna, may I have your comment? Oh, by the way, I moved comment to the end of the meeting.
Oh, what?
He's trying to sneak out.
No, excuse me, lock the door, security. I have moved public comment to the end of the meeting, so I don't go on and on and on.
You changed not just my lives, but my kids' lives as well. I won't go there. But I will say that half of my children were able to be in handbells as well as my sister and do such incredible things. You taught me how to read music in handbells. Those kids that get to do what you have brought and what you have built together with them, and I know it's a team, and I know that you consider them and their families all part of the handbell family. It's nothing short of absolutely incredible. What you've given to our community and what you continue to share with communities around us, like going to Universal City Walk and going to the Dorothy Chandler, and so many different things that you and your handbell family are able to give to all of us is just absolutely incredible and inspiring, and there's not enough praise and thank yous to everything that you all do, and thank you so much. Thank you for being here when I walked out and saw you.
Energy you put into everything you do is just so apparent. I was there for the Medal of Honor presentations he did for 6th grade. It was great. It was fantastic to see. So much effort put into everything you do. So glad to have you.
I'd like to donate my time to Kevin and the superintendent to tell us about the work that the Arts Committee did, as well as how this was actually funded. Now, good, thanks, go.
There it now goes. Hello. Good evening, board members. So yeah, the Arts Committee has been meeting basically monthly over at least for the last part of the school year, or from the beginning of this school year. And even prior to that, I know we were meeting, I think, on a quarterly basis, if I'm not mistaken, or was it monthly? Monthly. I was new to the program, but part of that Arts Committee is that we are looking at the whole district in terms of all arts, right? And so the way that we do get an arts grant through LACO. That's not quite necessarily how this part was funded, but we are getting state dollars from Prop 28 that will fund all these arts and initiatives that we have through the committee, and such a great community involvement. So that's how we make sure that we get our arts and music programs rolling.
So Dr. Sahakian, since you'll be to blame for my weight increase, and since he referenced your name, tell us about the grant that was applied for this is really why this is happening here. Could you do that?
The arts grant?
Whatever grant, all of them, $5.5 million that we didn't have.
Well, there's multiple grants. We're quite aggressive in applying for grants and making sure that we maximize opportunities for our school district and, of course, you know, the achievement of our students. And it always goes back to the classroom. And when we're talking about student achievement, and just to reference Mr. Falsgraff's comments, you know, being awarded grants through the U.S. Department of Education, Department of Justice, even the local grants such as LACO and with the arts grant, all of these specifically help enrich activities and the students' culture and climate on campus. The DOJ grant supports training on campuses for school-related safety concerns. The U.S. Department of Education grant funded our social workers and the We Care AADUSD initiative with our social workers that provides free mental health counseling for students in need. And the arts grant with LACO support and the consultant that we've been assigned, who's fantastic, Ms. Melissa, helps to drive the community partnerships and enhancing our art enrichment for all of our students.
So, to Mr. Rowland's point, not detracting, having this program detract from the budget. I remember when I first hit the board, it's a bad deal when you've got people trying to do things like this. I don't know how many high school musical groups show up at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion every year. Is it like flooded with them, or is it just kind of like you?
From our area, Palmdale High School does, and But,
every year.
well, the last 4 years, we haven't been able to apply because they have a COVID vaccination requirement. I don't know if you've heard all the drama behind that.
Yeah. You see the scars on my face. Let's skip that part. Get to the real thing.
We did it for like 15 years, and then we had to not apply because I wasn't going to force my students to get a vaccination just simple form.
Wow, America has choice in our district. Thank you, sir. I'll pay you for that one later. No, in all seriousness, this group performs at the highest level and is recognized at the highest levels in downtown Los Angeles. Mr. Rowland, you are the brand of our district. Thank you so much.
Mr. Falsgraf, I would like to re-loop around because I have one more thing to say, but also we...
That will cost you your pencil that I didn't get one, but go ahead. Have one.
We should have, and it's my fault, we should have started with Ms. Aislinn with our board comments. So I would like to loop around and start with where we should have started in the first place. So I apologize, but the floor is yours.
That's completely okay. All right. Yeah, I had Mr. Rowland as my 6th grade teacher, and you were fantastic. I couldn't have asked for a better teacher. I regret never joining handbells. A lot of my friends do it. Oh my God.
I regret you not joining. It's not too late.
I did it at 42 years old. I'm just saying.
I'll email you.
Show up tomorrow at 3.
Okay, got it. Yeah, but it's fantastic what you do and give students the opportunity to engage in some musical performing arts that our school might otherwise be lacking, especially middle school and elementary school, all the sites really. And it's really encouraging to see the opportunities that you give students. Thank you.
Okay, so I started off by saying that I wasn't going to talk about how Mr. Rowland single-handedly changed my life and where I am, but I figured that deserves some time, so I will share. I have talked about how I went to school here and how I grew up here. I talk about it a lot. I think it's an important part of my life and why I sit here. So I've talked about when this room was our library, and I had to sit in the library when I didn't do my work, and I don't really know why I was in trouble. I mean, I didn't pay attention a whole lot. I absolutely hated school. Hated school. I had a ton of absences. I remember sitting in Miss Gonder's office because I just hated school until 5th grade. And then when I got in 6th grade, I was lucky enough to get Mr. Rowland. I had D's and F's all through school until I was in 6th grade and I got my first A. And I will never forget, on our first day of school, you were telling a story and you, I honestly don't remember the whole concept of it, but you said that you were gonna go on a vacation in the summertime and you kind of paused and you were, wow, okay. And I don't remember how it got there, but you were, you brought up the fact that we didn't ask where you were going, that we didn't care enough to raise our hand and say, Mr. Rowland, where are you going? We had never been taught that we were allowed to ask teachers questions like that, to ask personal questions. And so we all said, oh, where are you going? Because then we wanted to know. We're allowed to ask. And you said, no, I will bring it up on the last day of school, and then you can ask me that again. And you didn't talk about it all year long. On the last day of school, you were talking about summer break and what everybody was doing. And I remembered, and I said, where are you going on your vacation? And you were going to Hawaii. So I don't know how many times you've been to Hawaii, but that's where you were going that summer. And that made such an impact that day in how our entire year was going to go. And then those morals and those teachings and the way that you interacted with us, being 12-year-old preteen, 6th graders who, you know, I did not care about school until I got into your class. And now I don't have memories, like memorabilia and stuff from all of grade school, but I have a Mr. Rowland box. So in all of my stuff, I have my yearbooks, and I have my Mr. Rowland box, and it has my paper mache bear, and it has my checkbook, It's full, it's packed full, and every time I pull it out, I have to strategically put it back so my bear doesn't get squished. But I know in my heart of hearts that I wouldn't have made it through high school without the teachings that you gave me, even into high school, being a cabin leader with you. I for sure wouldn't be here. I definitely wouldn't have started working for the school district. I mean, really, who knows? Who knows where I'd be without the great, powerful Mr. Rowland. So thank you. I just wanted to share all of that. You, year after year after year, you touch people's lives in ways that you don't even know. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you.
And don't forget, you asked me to walk you down your pageant aisle. And that
You
was like, you
did.
gave me that opportunity. What does it feel like to be a father?
You
gave
did.
me a gift back.
He was my escort for a Junior Miss Acton pageant when all of the other girls had their dads walking them.
I always remember that moment when you asked me. Thank you for giving me that fatherly moment.
That was definitely special. Thank you.
Did you win? I forget.
Oh no, I didn't win. No, it was fun though.
Just ruined the moment.
I'm so honored.
That was definitely. I'll have to pull out the pictures. Oh. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Did you know I went to school here?
Mr. Falsworth, did you say I didn't give you a pen?
Rentals.
Mr. Falsworth, did you say I didn't give you a pen? Did I skip you?
No, I'll steal one, it's good. Last term,
Sorry.
Mr. Rowland, why did you, I have nothing but girls, why did you tell me I could have subcontracted all of that? Anyone else? Thank you, sir. In all seriousness.
Thank you much. I don't mean to be rude, but I really do have tons of homework tonight.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And that's it, last call on public comment.
One more thing, just kidding.
Light me up so I can be the old Ken. We're good. So we've got all our reports and recognition. I am excited about this one. This is the strategic plan. Number 7, A, first read, Acton Agudosa Unified School District Strategic Plan. First read.
Yes, the informational item we're very excited to be presenting. I'll be co-presenting with our Vasquez students, senior Marina Costin, as well as junior Emily Hunanyan. I'll meet you both at the podium. Well, good evening, everybody. It's a different vantage point for me, but it's nice to be down here with our phenomenal students from Vasquez High School. Once again, I'm honored to be co-presenting with Marina as well as Emily. There are 2 students from Vasquez High School out of the 6 that were part of the strategic plan development team. They took 3 full days out of their curriculum, their teaching, and their learning at Vasquez High School to be here as part of the group of 31, 32 individuals that made up the development team. Development team was made up of course, students, as well as current parents, former parents of the district, community members, as well as staff members. So with that said, we're very excited to go ahead and present our first read, and this will be our 2024 updated AADUSD Strategic Plan Initiative. So the table of contents for this evening, what we'll be co-presenting on for you will be the plan overview and process. How do we get to this point in time? Because it has been about 1.5 years. So we're very mindful with the approach. We'll go ahead and unveil the new AADUSD mission and vision if approved by our trustees. That goes along with our AADUSD core beliefs and values. Something that's been added, that's a new feature to the plan in its totality, is a graduate profile. What do we expect our students to accomplish? What does that profile look like once they leave our school district as graduates of AADUSD? The updated strategic plan goals, there are 5, and my co-presenters will be presenting that information. Something that's been newly added to the updated plan will be action items and deliverables. These will be the activities that will make sure and to ensure that we meet our goals over time. And most school district strategic plans are for a period of 3 to 5 years from the point of adoption. And then I will review next steps. What does this mean for the district, and how will we communicate this to the entire community? So, strategic plan overview. What is a strategic plan? It is a living document, living, breathing document that communicates the organization's goals, its priorities needed to meet these goals, and the metrics used to measure progress. And that is a very essential point. What are the metrics used to measure progress on these goals? And we will come by that through the actionable items and the deliverables for academic and operational aspects of a school district. It's also a planning process that's designed to update the previous plan, and this process started back in the fall of 2022. It's been some time, but I'll review the process, and that includes the input that we received and solicited from our staff, our parents, and our community as a whole to make sure that we capture the essence of what our district needs to move forward in a successful manner. The next slide is our current strategic plan that was adopted back in 2018. This really provided the foundation for the groups working on developing and updating the new plan. So with a strong foundation of 5 goals, we maintained the goals in of itself. Goal 1, student achievement. Goal 2, effective instruction and leadership. Goal 3, community engagement. 4, student safety and connectedness. And 5, utilization of fiscal capital. That maintained as we were updating the plan, but how we define these 5 were tweaked and updated, and then we'll go over some of the updates with you. So the planning process, like I said earlier, we started this process back in the fall of 2022, and it was quite intensive and very comprehensive. So we started by pushing out an electronic survey to the entire community, not just AADUSD, but many of our community members that participate in district and school functions, past parents, alumni, and so forth. So there was a planning survey that solicited insight about the district's strengths and current challenges. Then we started on listening sessions. These listening sessions is a focus group per se, and it helped facilitate discussions with identified group of individuals aimed at collecting information. Then we moved forward with developing a leadership team, which was part of the writing team. The writing team took the content and the insight and the input from the development team, from the listening sessions, as well as the plan, the planning survey, to put a comprehensive updated plan together. The listening sessions took place at all 3 school sites. I was at Meadowlark, High Desert, and Vasquez. We also held listening sessions for parents, students, and staff were also included. We wanted to hear all voices. The following questions were the prompts that were asked at the listening sessions. What changes over the next 3 to 10 years in our community do you see as important for the district to address? What are the most important actions for the school district to take to ensure all of our students graduate well prepared to further education and or career with growth potential? And the third question, upon graduation from high school, what do you hope our students will know and be able to do? That helped to facilitate the graduate profile. Many times we put surveys out, generally speaking, not we the district, but I've done surveys and I never really see or hear the outcome of the survey, generally speaking. Those who are interested in joining the development team, and so we went ahead and received input, and those that were interested, and they joined the development team, and that comprised of about 31 individuals, like I stated earlier. We took an opportunity, a little break from the 3-day session. Again, it was a full-day session. It was quite intense. The development team, all the participants, they were broken up into 6 groups. Everybody received the same types of prompts in terms of developing and enhancing the existing strategic plan. So we took a moment just to go ahead and take a group photo. And I want to thank each and every individual that took time out. I appreciate your dedication to the district and to the process. Now, I'm excited to turn it over to Ms. Emily Hunanian.
This is what we see, this is what we hope for. The second thing is the core beliefs and values, which is the central idea behind what we believe in, what we value, and how we'll deal with different affairs, whether that be students, teachers, stakeholders, etc. And then the last part is the graduate profile. So this is looking at a graduate from our district. What are they like? What do they know? What have they learned? What skills do they have? The profile of a graduate. So from here on out, all the slides that will follow this one will all be presenting updated content from our strategic plan. So our vision and mission statement, it's up there if you would like to read it, but it essentially talks about what we value, collaboration with parents, staff, teachers, all members of the community, working to achieve powerful learning for all students to be able to achieve successes in a safe and supportive culture. You'll see culture will be mentioned several times during this presentation, and each time it's mentioned, it will be like furtherly expanded on what that culture encompasses. This also mentions support, whether that be academic, social, emotional, and leaving students with lifelong skills. Our mission statement is similar to our vision statement. It expands on the culture we strive to have and what we want to leave our students with, being lifelong learners, being productive and socially responsible citizens. Career path, this is essentially acknowledging that students will take various paths. Not everyone goes to college or career. It's different for everyone, and we acknowledge that. Some students will require more support than others. So this is acknowledging individual needs of students. Again, no two students are alike, and we believe that it is the district's responsibility to provide whatever support is necessary. Here is mentioned principles of equity, inclusion, and diversity to shape our culture. These core beliefs 4 and 5 talk about inclusion, including parents, including stakeholders and members of the community to give meaningful learning experiences to the students. And then our last core belief is that in order to achieve this academic success, students require a safe and orderly learning environment and several different support systems.
And with that, I'm going to move on to the district values. So these 7 values are basically what we kept in mind during the whole strategic planning process, and everything was based around these. So excellence, equity, integrity, respect, inclusion, empathy, and collaboration. So moving on to the graduate profile. This is essentially what graduates should take away with them after leaving our high school and exiting the district. And this is how we want to prepare them for whatever path they go on after they leave Vasquez. So our graduates should successfully complete academic coursework necessary to prepare them for higher education and or career growth potential, whatever their career may be, have been involved in a variety of student activities and leadership experiences, have participated in activities which prepare them to be active, socially responsible citizens, possess good communication skills, gain a clear sense of college and career goals, and be prepared to succeed in higher education, whether that be college or another path, with a strong academic record and extracurricular experiences. So the strategic planning was split up into 3 different segments for each goal that we created. So first we have the overarching goals, and this provides a roadmap for the district, guiding decision-making and resource allocation. So that's the overarching goals we made. And then to get more specific within the goals, we have our areas of focus. And the areas of focus we defined as areas that we're focusing on to align efforts and resources toward achieving specific goals that we made over a defined period of time, such as 3 to 5 years. And then to get even more specific than that, within the areas of focus are our action items or our deliverables, which was added this year. And those are the specific tasks that need to be done in order to achieve the goals.
So here's our first strategic goal, student achievement. You'll see there are LCAP goals listed under the goal itself. So those are there because those LCAP goals align with our strategic plan goals. So for strategic goal 1, student achievement, these LCAP goals specifically align with them. So our strategic goal essentially talks about improving all aspects of student success, whether it's academic, behavioral, social, emotional, and making sure that the students are ready to be independently productive and purposeful leaders in whatever path takes them after they exit our district. So LCAP Goal 1 mentions a high-quality education system, academic rigor with a multi-tiered system that focuses on narrowing the achievement gap. LCAP Goal 4 talks about ensuring that secondary students are on track to graduate from high school, that they're ready for college and career, that they experience academic progress, and that we keep the graduation rate 95% or higher. And then lastly, LCAP Goal 5 talks about a safe, secure, and drug-free learning environment for our students. We want our students to succeed, therefore we're providing them an environment that's going to allow them to do that. And then making sure that we have standard aligned material, safe, secure, and aesthetically pleasing learning environments for our students. And problem solving and other skills to engage students in their learning. The action items, essentially the examples of what we're going to do to implement this goal, include strengthening PBIS through professional staff development, implementing district-wide peer counseling programs. So not only would this peer counseling benefit the student that's being tutored, it's also helping the student tutoring. It's teaching them mentorship. Scheduling regular benchmark assessments to track our students' progress and growth, and partnering with community organizations to provide students impactful service opportunities.
Emily, if I could go ahead and interject very quickly. What you'll see on the slide, as we're moving forward with the action items and deliverables, we'll be providing quarterly updates to the board during board meetings. So to update the board, as well as, of course, our community stakeholders. So as we update the action items, they'll be denoted by whether these items that you see listed have they started, are they in progress, or are they ongoing items? And I'd like to clarify that this is just a snapshot of just 4 examples of a myriad of action items listed under Goal 1, Student Achievement. This is just
So our second goal is effective instruction and leadership, which is to say to strengthen the quality of instruction and leadership within our district with a focus on meaningful, productive interactions and to implement equitable, high-quality, data-informed instruction. This encompasses LCAP Goal 1 and 4, which Emily already went over, so I'll skip that. So the areas of focus for effective instruction is to attract and retain well-qualified staff. Of course, staff health and well-being is always very important. Providing teachers with the proper training to understand data-driven instruction and preparation for testing. Promote the use of innovative ideas and strategies to engage students in collaborative learning, and responsibility and accountability. And our action items and deliverables, a few examples. To engage with colleges and universities, which means having representatives from HR attend job fairs at colleges and universities to connect with potential candidates. Vasquez has already started to engage with colleges, like last year we had a college fair, field trips like that we're doing, so that's kind of already in place. Also regular check-ins, establish regular check-ins between staff and HR to address concerns, provide support, and ensure a transparent flow of information. Data analysis skills, training on data analysis techniques, helping teachers identify trends, patterns, and areas for improvement in student performance. And assessments, encourage the use of formative and summative assessments aligned with state standards and to gauge student progress.
Our third strategic goal is community engagement, which encompasses establishing and maintaining a culture which encourages positive relationships among students, staff, parents, as well as educational, business, and community partners. So our first LCAP goal listed is LCAP Goal 2, which talks about maximizing learning time, making sure that families will be engaged, connected, and empowered to be active within a safe and healthy school climate. And LCAP 3 talks about, again, involving parents and community members in decision-making at both school and district levels, providing connections between the community and schools to foster investment in education, maintaining communication with all stakeholders, and ensuring that all members of the community, parents, students, and teachers, feel that our schools are providing a safe, positive environment for our students to learn in. The areas of focus for this goal essentially acknowledge that in order to have community engagement, there needs to be communication. So a cohesive and proactive internal and external strategic communication plan that will inform and engage our diverse community and educational partners as well. It will be timely and accurate. And then our second area of focus is establishing and expanding diverse opportunities to promote an inviting, supportive, and safe environment, and again, encouraging active participation for all students, staff, and community partners. And then lastly, the action items include being proactive on social media platforms, providing regular updates and engaging content, showcasing the individuals and the achievements that make this community special, continuing shadow day programs to allow students to experience various school offerings, educational paths, enrichment activities, athletic programs, and host regular parent workshops to teach our parents how to provide academic support all the way to social emotional well-being.
And our fourth strategic goal is student safety and connectedness, which essentially is to heighten the district's commitment to fostering a culture that promotes emotional health, safety, and well-being of students, staff, and parents. This falls under LCAP goals 2, 3, and 5, which Emily already went over. So our areas of focus for student safety is to maintain a safe and respectful environment, which is obviously essential to student success. And then school connectedness, which could include just having a good understanding of what's going on at each school, creating a comfortable environment, and not being blind to the unique school culture and within our district. So our action items, some examples for student safety and connectedness: control access points to enhance security and monitor entry effectively. This has already been done at VHS with the front office. provide regular professional development for all staff on campus safety, conduct active shooter drills to prepare students for board and staff for emergency situations, something really important in the modern day, and launch a mentorship program connecting staff, students, or community members with students.
Our last strategic goal is utilization of fiscal capital. And this is essentially making sure that our budgeting is operating efficiently and effectively, supporting students, and it's meeting the district goals and expectations. And LCAP goals 1 and 5, which are listed there, have already been covered. So I'll move on to the areas of focus. So ensuring oversight and accountability practices are effectively implemented, monitored to refine instructional programs, and ensure their effectiveness. So this is essentially making sure that the things that are being implemented, such as accountability practices, are being effective. And then the second area of focus is examining opportunities for modernization. This could range from a classroom to the campus to the athletics, etc. The action items for this goal include conducting a comprehensive assessment of our current classroom facilities, prioritizing our projects based on safety, functionality, and the overall student experience. Again, with prioritizing equipment upgrades based on functionality, safety, and the relevance it serves to current curriculum. And then lastly, seeking input from stakeholders and ensuring that the modernization efforts meet community standards.
Thank you, Marina and Emily. Very eloquent and poised. I appreciate you. Our next steps, February 2024, will be our second read, and it'll be an action item to be voted for approval or not. Once approved, we'll develop a public communication piece, a comprehensive communication piece to unveil the approved strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years, which will be the roadmap for our district, which will include the graduate profile, updated mission vision, core beliefs, and values. The superintendent's report will continue to embed and address the alignment of our strategic plan as it pertains to district updates. In addition, it would be my desire to actually incorporate moving forward on the board meeting agenda items. Any agenda item that we have listed would be tied to the strategic goal, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, as well as the relevant LCAP goal. That would be my desire for the board moving forward, respectfully. Quarterly updates, strategic plan quarterly updates in progress to start with the school board meetings, as well as district communication pieces and newsletters and parent groups. Because once again, like I mentioned earlier, this is a live document. There are metrics, there are the action items, deliverables that will be taken upon us as staff from leadership and other staff members to take a look at to make sure that are we meeting our targets, are we meeting our goals, and are we moving the district in the right direction. And that will come along with matching this up to the LCAP, as we have to update our LCAP annually by law. That's a requirement. We'll be taking a look at our LCAP, how that aligns, and the LCFF funding, how that aligns to our strategic goals, so that both plans could be mirrored and be speaking to one another as we move forward. And with that, we will move it to the folks who were part of the development and writing team. I'll leave this up there for about a minute. I want to thank each and every individual that participated, that took time out, whether they were
Guys, to read these names off one by one. Let's start with the student rep and we'll move through the list. Go ahead, please.
So we'd like to thank one personally. So Ashley Ennett, Brittany Blymeyer, Dr. Paula Chamberlain, Nicole Chung, Kimberly Clemens, Marina Costin, Stephanie Council, Meredith Fall,
And Mary Fife, Alex Herdosia, Emily Hunanian, Kelly Jensen, past board member, And is this Mikey?
Mika?
Mika.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have known that. Mika Kramer, Alexa Lepp, Zachary Levine, Hartley Lundquist, Sandy Madsen.
Starting out with the easy one. Sahar Makinban, Desiree Maloney, Nathan Mango, Yolanda McCauley, Marion Claus, Tiffany Montoya, Kate O'Mara, Carla Rodriguez.
Maria Romano, Eric Sahakian, Nicole Saucedo, Dawn Schneider, Victoria Taylor, Mervat, formerly the artist, formerly known as Miss T, Michelle Van Ornum, Kevin Vansko, Isabella Vera, and Carrie Wright. Thank you all. Please continue.
Thank you. And that leads us to, again, our appreciation for having this time with you all. Thank you, Marina and Emily. They took the crux of the presentation. I met with them twice, and they asked for, can we actually take goals 1 through 5? Sure, take it away. I appreciate them. They're very poised, and our future leaders are standing amongst us. So thank you very much. Job well done. Questions and comments from the
Speakers,
board?
please be comfortable if you like take a seat or whatever. I know that you've been up there a while. But let's start off with our student representative. Questions and comments, please.
No questions. I just like to say that I believe this is a really comprehensive plan, and I really congratulate everyone who worked on it, on creating something so necessary and wonderful that I think will really push our district forward. Thank you.
Immediate past president Taxoni.
This is a huge document to tackle and incredibly important. So I do want to thank all of those people for being willing to put in so much time and thought and effort. I want to thank the two of you for being here tonight and being ready to present. You guys did a beautiful job, so thank you very much for making everything so clear and being able to explain it to us in the way that you did. I appreciate it. So a huge thank you to everybody involved. It's beautiful. So for our first read, it's absolutely beautiful, and thank you all for putting this together.
Vice President Mascon, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's a tremendous amount of work, and if you've been through the process, it could be quite draining as well, especially after multiple days of working on it. You kind of, I've been in a lot of them where they didn't go so smoothly, so sometimes a lot of emotions are involved. But thank you very much for all of your effort. I do have comments and questions as well. So to start out, we will need to create some sort of consolidated summary that's more digestible for the public. Obviously, having the details available would be fantastic for those that want to dive into all that, but some sort of one-pager that kind of lays things out that makes it easily digestible will be key if we want people to really understand what we're trying to accomplish. Two, if we're going to have a goal and a target, then we need to benchmark where it's at today with data. Not with a look and feel, not with anything other than data. Data will need to set a target for exactly where each and every single one of those goals are, in my opinion. Then when you provide updates to them, it'll be an update with data showing whether the needle has moved or not on that specific target. If you can't measure it properly, it may not need to be there, or it may need to be some sort of soft target that you're working on in general. But without data, we'll never be able to tell whether we're actually moving the needle on these items or not.
Thank you for the comments. If I could address both.
I have more.
Oh.
I'll keep going though, if you want to start with those.
We'll start with the first two.
Yeah.
In terms of the communication piece, I alluded to it in the presentation. We'll have a condensed, abbreviated version of the updated strategic plan, of course, for community consumption. But then we'll hyperlink all of the details as well as the action items, deliverables, because that could go on for pages. And that will be updated when we update the quarterly. So, when we're talking about attendance, school climate, student achievement, truancy, positive attendance is part of that. The LCAP plan addresses in this current school year for that truancy rate to drop to 6%. So there's that alignment piece. Another example is we talked about community engagement and increasing community partnerships, right? That were aligned to student achievement. So we have the baseline data of 75% of the community partnerships. The desired outcome for the current LCAP plan for the 23-24 school year is 79%. So an increase of 4%. So instead of creating our own new metrics that may not align to the LCAP, we want to make sure that there is some kind of cohesiveness and alignment.
I think that's perfect. That's exactly the way that you would hope to see it. So setting those realistic targets like that. You mentioned this as a 3 to 5 year target, which I think is great. I think a lot of the community and family hear that and they go, my kid's going to start and end, you know, in high school or in an area and not really see the effect of all these things. So while a 3 to 5 year target is amazing, you do have to break it down into smaller bites. So when we communicate to the community about what we're going to be working on, say over the next 3 months, it may be small bites of each one of those targets, but here's the items we're working on for the next 3 months. Here's what we expect the outcome to be for each one of those items, and here's the point that it addresses in the strategic plan, because that's a lot of stuff we're talking about working on. We will not get to it all in 1 year. There may be things on there we don't start for 2 to 3 years, and they may fall off the list when we redo the strategic plan in the year, if it's still relevant or important to us at that time. So deciding whether or not what we're going to work on over the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months will be critical for people to understand what this is actually going to turn into for us and how it will really, truly affect them. Final point, what I would love to see that I feel like is missing in it is revenue. How are we going? I think everybody would love to see every child in our community that is in our addressable market attend our schools. And I didn't feel like there was much attention to that. I think if you do all this, people will want to be here, obviously, but there are not specific targets around increase in revenue and increase in ADA, which I think is required for us to build the sort of school district that we need and to achieve all these things. So I think adding that piece to it will be critical.
Thank you for that comment. You know, we'll review the plan itself. There's some elements that actually tie in indirectly with ADA, but that's a point well taken. And then your previous comment about chunking it out per se in terms of the quarterly updates is quite important. Within the plan and the action items, deliverables, there are some low-hanging fruit that are currently in progress that could be reported out. There are some components that are ongoing or a future outlook, for example, facilities expansion. And I think we had that example up on the slides. So we'll chunk that out as we move forward with our quarterly updates.
It creates wins you can celebrate along the way as well, because you put a plan like this and without being able to go, okay, we're chipping away at achieving this goal and here's the ways we're doing it and the small tasks that move along to get us there, well, it just helps everybody stay tuned in and positive about what we're trying to do, what we're trying to get to. Thank you.
Okay, I'll loop this all together at the end. It's going to seem like I'm out in the weeds. I need you to all to understand what I look at in life. I moved out of my parents' house the morning after I graduated. I had no idea what I was doing. I went to work. I was a blue-collar person at that time. You went out, you made money yourself, you supported yourself, and if you're smart, you choose car insurance over beer. So at the end of the day, my measure in life is, are you going to be able to support yourself? And one of you made an incredible comment that if additional students, if there are some students that need additional supports, it's up to the rest of us that are self-sufficient and doing well to see to it. That is probably the most significant thing I heard in here because it describes your brand. When I started up here, I wanted the focus to be on kids, and then it was, let's get our brand name established in the market. I don't know how on earth I got to where I got today, including sitting up here where I work, what I do. It's just incredible. I've had people who are far more educated and had skill set that they shared with me. I'm going to end this in a few minutes by criterizing you two and where you're likely to go, and I'm going to go to Vegas and make some bets on it and make a bunch of money off of both of you. But here's how I measure things. I want to know that when you leave here, you have the opportunity to walk out in that world, and whether you're going to go to work at Green Giant Candy Factory driving a forklift that I did, or you're headed off to MIT, you feel confident enough to walk in and tell somebody, I can do this job for you, I am an ethical person, I am a quality person, and I'm going to give you an honest day's work. I don't know in California how the youth here, compared to what the budget, what the economy is like, that you're going to walk out of your house at 18 years old and be completely self-sufficient. That is scary, much less, even with the support your parents give you. By the way, kids, if you're being supported and supplemented by your parents, you have to ask yourself, what would my world be like without them? And take that a next step deeper. When somebody comes up to you that's at your school, that's an adult, and says to you, come on, you're better than that, you're bigger than that, take a moment and recognize these people care about your outcome as an individual. Please always remember that. Here's the rough part for me. I've got somebody I called out, and I said, as the board president, I usually clam up and don't be canned too much, but for Mr. Rowland to come in here, considering some of the meetings I've been through up here in the last couple of years, and have Mr. Rowland, who has undoubtedly affected kids, by the way, I just measured, how many of you kids can say, you're young adults, I don't mean to offend anybody, it's just me, don't expect much, but how many of you, for year after year after year, look back at Larry Rowland and say, hey, you know what, that guy changed my life, and he's in here thanking our superintendent with whatever is in here. That is our brand. That is what's going to bring students in. I can't send out marketing. I have districts. I won't point at anybody, but somebody's district sends me postcards asking if my kid's going to go to their school. Was my kid at your school? That's the first indicator. Don't steal my kids. They don't want to go nowhere if it's right here. And this is the kind of stuff that makes it right. I'm going to read this into the, and if you're the board president, you get the guy at Laco that's the financial guy who's about as sterile as a laboratory telling you, oh, you have to pay attention to how you're spending money here, you better pay attention. Everything that I'm being told we need to watch is the stuff that's making us successful here. So I'll need that later when I read it. But without the grants, without people taking the extra step, I'll sign that for you later. At any of these things, we don't have the money to do what we do, but we still find a way to do it, and that's the grants and that thing. Okay. It's difficult for me in my work environment. I have to be highly effective because my personality doesn't lend well to anything. The first thing I want to tell you too, I have never heard either one of your names in that room back there. That is so painful because when I get decisions dropped in my lap and these people with kids and we're looking at very rough circumstances, I watch lives be ruined. And of course there's all these rules that we have to follow. I have never heard anyone that is associated to either of you in that room. That is significant. Clap for these kids, please. Next thing, IT, please get a copy of their part of the presentation to them in digital and on CD. I want you to have that. I want you to put it on your applications to anything you do into the future. Because here's a problem. How many people were on that list? Who's a math whiz? There were 4 people reading. We each read 7 names. There you go. I'm not that dumb.
30.
Anyway.
30.
Where I was going with this is this. You take all of those people. Some of them are very emotional. Some of them are not emotional. Some of them are financial wizards. Some of them are prom queens. Some of them are, I don't know what the rest of them are. But you have all these people in the room, and they're all highly polarized. They're all emotional. Some of them, like I said, so you got all of this. And the worst thing for me at work is to get a policy set by the city council I work for because they're looking at things like how do we maintain police, how do we maintain fire, our schools, what is really important in taking this place and keeping our market, and that's what's being done here. But when you get all these people in the room, it's very difficult to have someone, much less two people, say, listen, I'm going to take everything you said and I'm going to bind it up, and I know some of it I don't believe in, I know some of it I would just throw away, but you two stand up here and represent the thoughts of others in a way that is positive, and you actually believe what you're telling me and you own it, and that is a very rare skill in the workplace. Take that one to the bank. Emily, you sat up here for a year. One of the year was very volatile at sometimes, but you sat through a complete budget cycle and an LCAP. So when you're up here talking LCAP, I know that you know what that means and how the county guys are telling us you're failing over here, you're failing over there, and you guys as students are actually part of the solution. Ms. Costan, everywhere I look, you're like the whole newspaper. The FEMA plan you worked on, all the stuff you've worked on, you need to sit down and look at what you've done and put your ego aside and pretend you're me because I'm the best and I'll write everything down that I ever did and it's the most awesome thing. No, but in seriousness, don't discount your service to your school, the other students, and if I were hiring someone and you two were the candidates and I watched this movie, I would have a hard time picking between the two of you. So what I'd have to do is ask you two to take a pay cut before you're hired, and I would give 2 for 1. But at the end of the day, guys, this is the measure of what we want you to take that one home. Now I want to talk about Miss Van Ornum. Again, my measure is can you work? Oh, can you work? Can you support yourself? Are you still laid up at your parents' house at 30 years old playing some video game? Oh no, I'm not talking about your kids. We know the answer. I doubt these two will be there either. But at the end of the day, here's what I look at. It's about self-stability, self-sustainability. What happens when you don't have self-stability and ability to maintain yourself? You're set up for chronic underemployment. You are set up with chronic, you're set up for chronic self-medication. When that happens, I have never known what to do about that. These programs that you're telling me about these supports, when I was a kid, mental health started when you were hauled away in the ambulance. Think about how archaic that is. But back to Ms. Van Ornum, here's my measure. You can give me reports all day long. I went to 4, I have an employer that I can actually, they actually think it's cool that I'm civilizing myself by going, they can't even believe I'm up here. But at the end of the day, I went to all 4, what were they called? Oh, that's nice. I call it a measurement standard, who's cutting it and who's not. And I will tell you this. I'm looking at predictions of who's going to be laying on somebody's couch when they're 30 years old. Can you tell me what percentage of the 5th grade class had a 3.5%? If you have a 3.5%, is that an indicator that in the future you're probably going to be able to feed yourself and take care of yourself? I would say yes. So what percentage of Miss Van Ornum's 5th grade class had 3.5 or higher? Don't everybody lose at once.
I know the answer, but I'm not.
Well, you're disqualified.
Okay.
60%.
Huh?
60%.
You're low. You're terribly low. I don't even know who you are. I don't mean to insult you. I insult everybody, so don't feel like it. 77%. That tells me that 77% of the kids will be gainfully employed if they can keep on the track that they're on right now. They'll go to school, they'll go wherever they're going. They know how to maintain their self. And they're not selling blank report cards to their friends with blank envelopes and writing their own grades in from people that had good handwriting. Where did that come from? Let's move on. We've got 3 more grades there. what is the, was that funny? What is the percentile for the whole school of 3.5% or higher? Does anybody want to guess?
72.
You're terribly high.
See what you've done?
Listen, anybody that's known me for a long time, when I say show of hands, do not raise your hand. 63% of Miss Van Horn's class, all the classes are 3.5 or higher. Now, I have to find something wrong, right? Guess what's wrong? Ms. Van Horn, would you care to share to us how many of those kids are in the exact same kids that start here and end here? Is that typically what happens?
So typically, in the time that I've been in this district, kids kind of start in kindergarten and 75–80% of them are still with us and graduating by the time they get to the high school. Something that's happened in the last 4 years is we've had a lot of kids coming and going, and in reviewing data for our site, more than 50% of the students in the 8th grade were not in our school in the 5th grade.
Think about that. Why are they coming to our school? We're capturing our market, that's why. So, you're not only taking your local kids when enrollment's dropping, but you've got people that go to other schools, parochial schools, charter schools, whatever is a good fit for you, that's great. But at the end of the day, if you are cycling kids who are coming in here from somewhere else and you're still producing these numbers, that tells me that not only are you on track to put adults out on the street, and this was really important to you guys up here. I noticed that is put people out on the street when they get out of school that aren't scared to go on to school, who aren't afraid to walk in and know how to sell themselves. You guys are exemplary. Exemplary. I think that's it. Thank you. I'll look one more time.
I don't have anything extra to say.
I don't have any more comments, thank you.
Sorry, I have one more.
That was the best Valentine card of my life.
Thank you, Ken, for that. That was all the things I wanted to say.
Why be nice? Anyway, finish this up. Let's go.
Was one more thing that I would love to see sitting on top of the strategic plan, and it's a very simple brand promise. That is an easy 1 to 2 sentences, maybe 3 at the most, that you can tell someone about our school district and say, what are you all about and why should our kids go there? What is that? It's almost like an elevator pitch, right? You've got 15 seconds and tell me what you're all about. What is the brand promise? What can I look to as a student to point back to in a very short way to go, here's how I treat others. As a teacher or staff member here, what can I point to as a way that I need to interact with everyone around me?
Those common themes for certain taglines that would be the brand promise that will develop out of this strategic plan. So that's forthcoming. And then we'll be unveiling that to the board and to the community soon.
So to piggyback off of him, here's what this looks like. When you are filling an application to go to work in the school district, before you start holding your hand out, you tell me in the questionnaire, where do you fit the brand promise? Where do you fit the strategic plan? How are you going to emulate the goal, whether you're going to be a classroom teacher, an aide, a coach? Where is it that you have a personal buy-in? That's where it starts. And then I nail them with the same question in the first panel, and then I hit them again with the same question, and I pump that all the way through. Are you here to collect a paycheck, or are you here to take the individual skills that each one of us is born with as an individual on this earth? No one is like you. No one will ever be like you. No one has your potential to accomplish things you will accomplish. So if you're going to come in here and you're going to take our best minds as an employee, you need to understand why you're here, and you need to tell me why you're here. Aren't you glad that we went around again That's it, that's all I got. Thank you all very much.
And on behalf of Marina, Emily, and I, we want to thank the board for this opportunity. Thank you to the educational partners here in the boardroom as well as on Zoom. Thank you.
Great job, young ladies.